We are going to be looking at lesson 10.1, which is measures of central tendency. Our learning goal for the day is that we are going to represent sets of data by using these measures of central tendency. So everything that we're talking about today goes under that category of measures of central tendency. So mean, median, and mode is where we're starting. The mode is the number that appears most frequently in a set. As you can see from this first question, here are the number of times 11 people ate at a restaurant last month. We've got 2 modes in this case, and you can have more than one mode. For this one, we have 4 6s and 4 7s, so they're tied for the most. So our answer is just 6 and 7. The 4 and the 5s only happen once and twice, respectively. Moving on to the next one. The following list gives the number of public libraries in each of 11 cities. I saw that there was 3 3s. There's no other number in there that occurs 3 times, so 3 would be our only mode for that one. The mean is the average, and I have a quote around the word average there. I'll talk about that in a second. But it's the average of a set of numbers, and the way that we go about figuring out what our mean is basically by this simple division. We're going to add up all of our terms, so the sum of our terms here, and then we're going to divide it by how many terms we have in our set. Now, let's go back to this. Let's go to the first one, and then I'll explain my definition maybe a little bit more after maybe it makes sense. So a pet store has 7 cats. What I did was I added up all of the number of their weights, and I divided it by 7 since there was 7 cats. So I took all of the weights, added them together, divided it by 7, which was 69 divided by 7, and we got 9.86 pounds. I probably should have labeled it with pounds. I'll let you guys do that. And that's my mean, or my average of their weights. So the average cat, if I were to predict what the next cat coming in would weigh, that's probably what I would guess, 9.86, because that is our average, and that's what mean is used for most of the time, predicting and things like that. Next, each of 7 students reported the number of movies they saw in the past year. So I took all of these movies that they watched, each individual watched one of these numbers worth of movies, and I divided it by the number of students, which was 7 in this case. So my answer was 74 divided by 7, and I got 10.57. So again, if I had to guess or estimate in the future, I would say probably that student's going to watch somewhere around 10.5 movies. I want to go back and talk about average really quick, like I said I was going to. All of these are technically averages. I just have average in the definition of mean because it's most commonly called the average. That's what people in the real world will call a mean. They won't usually say the mean. They'll say, what's the average? But technically, all of these are an average because they're all measures of central tendency. Next one. The median. I didn't put a definition down for the median. I'm just going to say it to you. You guys can write it. I want to keep this short. But the median is the middle number when you order your numbers from least to greatest, like I've done here. It's the middle number when you order them from least to greatest. So if I were to go through these, I would cross out the left one, then the right one, after I've ordered them, of course. Cross out the next left one and the next right one. Okay, I've done 2 on each side. Now I'm doing 3 on each side. And it looks like we have 2 12s in the middle. So my median is 12. If those were 2 different numbers, if I had like a 12 and a 14, for example, I would have to take the average of them. But I think we're going to get that here in our next question. So on the next one, I ordered them again. Cross out one over there and one over there. Next ones. Next ones. And now I've got 14 and 16. The middle of 14 and 16 is 15, so my median on this one is actually 15. Even though 15 doesn't actually occur in this set, it's not actually a number in this set, that's still going to be my median because I took the average of 14 and 16. Last question here. It says Jane recorded her golf score for each round she played this year. Which measure gives the score she shot most often? If it's happening all the time, if it's most often, that's going to be your mode. Next one, in a survey, 10 people recorded how many soft drinks they drank. It wants to know which one should best summarize their data. There's not much of a difference between this one and the next one. if I look at this one and the next one here. So I'm trying to figure out, just based on the numbers, which one I would use. Would I use the mean or the median? It's not going to be the mode because neither of these questions are asking us which one occurs most often. So one of them is going to be mean and the other one's going to be median. Now I'm just going to give you the answer for this. The bottom one is going to be the median. And the reason for that is because of this number right here, number 16. 16 is technically called an outlier, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in depth here in 2 lessons from now. So if you wanted to jump ahead 2 lessons, you could get more information on that. But that is an outlier. That one is going to skew our data. It's going to pull our data and make it look all weird because 16 really doesn't belong with all the rest of those numbers. It doesn't belong. Whereas the ones up here, it looks like all of these numbers do belong together. They're all very similar numbers. So I chose median for this one because, again, when we chose median, what we did was we crossed out these numbers. And then we went again and crossed another one out, and crossed another one out, and crossed another one out. And that was our average, or our median, for that one. For the top one, if I'm doing the mean, this 28's not going to pull those numbers down as much as this 16 would. That 16 would really mess it up if we used the mean, because that's going to really pull our numbers down. It's kind of tricky to explain. Hopefully that made sense. So this one would be mean. If you have more questions on that, be sure to find your teacher and ask them about that. All right, guys. Good luck. Thanks for watching.